From all of us at Robotics Academy, we would like to wish all of our viewers and listeners a happy holiday season. We hope you take some time during the break to unwind and wish you all the best during this holiday season. And this holiday season, Robotics Academy has their top classroom bundles on sale, so you can easily integrate coding into your class through fun. To complement these robots, don't forget to take advantage of our full suite of resources to help you easily bring STEM robotics and coding into your classroom. Learn more at logicsacademy.com/curriculum. And now for my amazing conversation as a part 2 follow-up with Dean Vendramin about robotics in high school. Welcome back, everyone, to the Robotics Academy podcast. We have a special follow-up episode with the amazing Dean Vendramin. On our last episode, we were so excited to talk about Minecraft education and all things Minecraft in the classroom that we didn't even have enough time to get into robotics. And so we thought no better way to go into the holiday break than bring Dean back and talk about his adventures in robotics at the high school level, which is why I'm super, super excited to have you back on the show, Dean. So thank you for coming back on such a short turnaround to talk about robotics at high school.
Well, thanks for having me. It's really exciting. And I had a great time chatting with you last time. I'm excited about having another chat and share kind of what I'm learning about robotics and coding. It's ironic, too, that we're doing this during CS week, too. So I think the timing is pretty impeccable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll try not to go off track into Minecraft and other things. You're doing so many amazing things with your students in your classroom. But okay, let's dive into it before I get off track. Let's talk about coding and robotics. How did you start off with robotics in the classroom, and maybe what tools do you have access to?
Sure. Well, I've had a tech club for the last few years for students, and we've had a Lego Mindstorm that students were playing with on the side. Here in Saskatchewan, our technical institute has a Sumo bot challenge, and I did that a couple of times with my students over the years and that. But, the Saskatchewan government, in education, they finally came up the last couple of years with the robotics curriculum. And I said, wow, that'd be really cool. And kind of because of COVID, my kid ended up taking a robotics class online from another educator in my division. And it's all relatively new, like I said, a couple of years. And I said, wow, this is really cool. It'd be something that I think students at O'Neill, where I teach, would really be into. So I talked to this teacher, and he was nice enough to share a lot of his information with me. And it's kind of par for the course for me with my teaching career. I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I know it's good for kids. So I took the dive in, and I'm kind of a noob, but I got lots of support from our division, and I've been lucky to have good professional learning network, and and the kids are great, and we're definitely trying a lot of cool things in the classroom.
So let's talk about Sumo bots, because that alone sounds super epic. But so what is this Sumo bots that you referred to? Is it a competition that your district puts on, or maybe it's something you attended outside of your district? And is that something that still goes on today?
Yeah, the Sumo bot thing, actually, like our technical institution for the provinces, it used to be called SIAS, like Saskatchewan Institute for Art, it's like applied arts kind of a thing. And now it's called SAS Polytech. So you go there. It's not university, but it's a post-secondary degree. So when a student goes there, they get trained really well, but it's shortened classes. Like you don't get your whole thing in university. So SAS Polytech has put this on for many years, where students across our province can gather, and they get these little kits, these little Sumo bots, and then you can mod them, which we weren't very good at, but there were some other people around Saskatchewan that were doing some amazing things, modding these out, and made them super fast, like putting in lithium batteries and that type of thing. So yeah, we went up to Saskatoon a couple times, and you have a circle, and there's two little battle bots, and you try to push the other bot, or just like sumo wrestlers, you try to program and push the other bot out of the rings, and the kids had a blast with that. And that's something I hope that you keep incorporating with the robotics we're doing now. But there's so many opportunities out there. Like I've been looking into like the Lego League and a bunch of other things that I'm really hoping to take kids in outside of what we're doing curricular too. There's so many STEM opportunities in robotics and coding. The sky's the limit. Actually, another cool thing that's going on right now, like kind of locally, is that we're going to be making a go-kart and we're going to convert it from gas power to electric power. And we're going to use our robotics class to do that. And the kids get to race them and do that. So that's the cool thing about robotics, and that is it just provides some unique opportunities for kids to get engaged and get hands-on and real-world experience and that. So even though I would consider myself kind of a noob, if I can use that term, I know it's good for kids, and I know I learn right along with them, and so, that's kind of the key thing, to be a lifelong learner. And I think kids appreciate that. But I'm gaining a lot of knowledge myself through this whole adventure, which I'm really grateful for.
And what a cool concept of turning a go-kart from gas powered to electric. Because a lot of times, even when we started talking about robotics, you kind of picture robots. You just think, okay, what kind of robots are we using? But there's more to it than just using a robot. There's this electrical piece. There's this coding piece to build something else. So, what are some of the projects? You just mentioned the go-kart transferring from gas into electric. What are some of the projects that you're doing at the high school level? Because that's huge, right? We don't often hear about robotics and the types of things that happen at the high school level. So what are some projects and tools that are happening in your world right now?
Well, that's the cool thing is with this program, it's also robotics and animation. So we got a bunch of 3D printers as part of the LL too. So our kids have been doing a lot of CAD design and, making designing little Lego blocks all the way to the toy trains. And I got this one kid, he's doing a passion project and he's doing like an exoskeleton. Like he's got a whole hand thing going and with moving parts, just 3D printed. It just shows you the power of what's going on with this. And then, we're doing a lot of coding and learning Python and how to do some of that. And then, these kids are doing some virtual coding for robots and seeing how it works. But then we're using, different types of robots in our classroom, and kids are trying these things out. We're lucky to have another partnership, and that's what the thing is with our local university. They have an EYES program. It's educating youth in engineering and science, and we have a partnership with them. And they brought a bunch of like microbits in and spheros and you name it, and the kids got to play and try all those things. And we're trying to make a connection with that too, and in engineering and different things. So it's just there's just so much out there, and there's so many grants and there's so many opportunities that they're just starving for teachers to give students these opportunities to do that, and they're out there the kids get pretty excited.
So was it, we've said excited a few times, was it hard to engage your students, at the high school level in robotics and in coding? Was it a hard sales pitch, or did they just hook on right away? They're like, let's build this golf cart or go-kart.
Yeah, that's the thing. With this class, and just like, again, first time offering it, this year as a curriculum course outside of like the tech club. And I got two class sections, one this semester and one next semester. So, just had to drop without a lot of advertising because it was, because of COVID and things like that. It just kind of, we were able to offer it just before class selection. So to have about 50 kids sign up for the course, I think is pretty good. And it's an introductory level. So I've got grade 10s, 11s, and 12s all taking this. And then there's two, like there's a robotics 10 and a robotics 30. And the curriculum's pretty, accommodating to try a lot of these new things. There is some flexibility built in. So the kids, they've really, got into it, and just to, give these students this opportunities to try things that, some kids, they need the hands-on, and they need to see the results of their learning a little quicker, or you kind of wonder, like, when am I ever going to use this, right? When they're doing the robotics and animation thing, they're saying, well, they see the practicality of it. They see how they could take it to the next level. They They see a little Roomba hit them in the foot when they're at home, maybe, or see it on TV, and they're like, hey, I'd like to do that, that kind of thing. So to give students the opportunity to experience that, it's a pretty easy sell.
And you've mentioned, I'll use your terminology of being a noob in robotics and in coding, but you mentioned having a colleague or someone as a resource to kind of lean on, but what are some of the resources that you found? And this goes for our listeners and our viewers who are thinking, wow, I'd love to get into robotics and even, introductory coding. What are some of the resources that you have found both for yourself for professional learning, but then the tools that you're providing for the students to learn as well?
Well, the kind of the sponsors of the podcast, Logics, has a great library and wealth of information. Their products are really easy to use, and we have a few of those in my class too. And then they got a lot of how-tos that you can just jump on and you get the kind of, you press the video and you learn and you stop and you do things and you do some trial and error. So there's definitely Logistics Academy stuff is amazing too. We also use some things out of Calgary called fidgets, and those are kind of neat, and they're like little components that make up robots and stuff, and you can make rovers and stuff there too. So there's lots of companies out there that are seeing the benefits of tapping into the education world and usually giving education, a little bit better deal on the prices and that type of a thing. But yeah, even with our curriculum guide, there are some resources and stuff you can tap into. But the power of social media and jumping on to like Twitter or, I'm kind of partial to Twitter myself, but you can find a lot out there for sure if you're looking for things. And the companies are really, like we use another tool called Onshape to do our computer assisted design too. And they have an education area in that. So there's lots of stuff out there for education if you take a peek and a look. And I think it's going to grow and grow because, we need students that are going to be trained for these, STEM. I prefer STEAM because I throw arts in there too. These STEAM jobs that are available now and in the future too. So a lot of companies are saying, we got to hit these kids up in high schools and in elementary schools and get them excited. So we have this skilled labor force that we're going to need.
Absolutely. And so for our listeners, and you've mentioned a few times that there's a new curriculum for robotics, in your province. For our teachers who may be listening, who maybe don't have a robotics curriculum, do you find that there are a lot of links and a lot of connections that could be made to other curricular contents that, maybe there's a math teacher listening or whatever subject, do you think there's a way to connect that so that they can, maybe make a project out of it or include it as part of their, subject area matter?
Well, definitely. I think a natural tie-in would definitely be math. And I think in Ontario, actually, they're including coding inside of their math curriculums now too, and that. So I think it's starting to make a headway. Like you can definitely make the sell for computational thinking with coding and robotics, and that definitely plays well to math. But I think you can take something like the UN sustainability goals, and you can tie that into social studies. And so the students would have to solve a wicked problem that's going on in our society right now, and maybe try to figure out how to get clean water or how to do something that would unpollute the air and that. And there are a lot of resources and stuff out there that would do that. So if you're in social studies and you want to maybe do a social movement, you could use coding and or robotics to solve a problem like that. Even I've seen people use it in English too, like just like you compose a sentence in English, you can also, how do you compose your coding and put that together so it makes a story and all that. So I've seen, you can apply that coding to do something where, you can tell out what difference between your nouns and your additives or do it a Mad Lib or something like that. So, there are definitely ways to be creative and do that. I know like even this week in my social studies class, on Friday, Minecraft has a really good hour of code activity in there this year that deals with it's kind of like a time travel thing, and you got to go fix. You got to send this guy, a little agent, and go and fix the code, and that can save like the Jazz and saving the Apollo mission and different little tasks like that. So there are ways to definitely incorporate it in, and even if you're unplugged, like you can even do coding where you could print off paper and kids would, so we don't have the technology available. There is ways to, like even through paper and that kind of figure out that it doesn't have to be a big monster bot or Sumo bot to be considered coding or STEM or STEAM or robotics. You can start somewhere small and something you're comfortable with, and even doing like a flow chart, I would argue, is the stepping stones to doing all of this. So you can definitely do that in a lot of other classes as well.
Amazing. And you gave, great examples of being able to do it, kind of offline with low tech. So one thing, Dean, and it happened in our last conversation, I love your amazing examples of the way that you've used this with students. And you've already kind of given us a sneak peek with, transitioning a gas powered go-kart into an electric go-kart. What are some other, great examples or examples that you have of coding with your students, projects that they may have done or whatever it might be? Maybe this will help spark our listeners and our viewers to engage in a project similar to what you can share. But so what are some ideas? What are things that you've done in your class that could inspire others to begin in their classrooms?
Well, what I like to do, and my students are doing right now, is I like to include a passion project or a genius hour project in where the kids have some ownership and say, I think a lot of students kind of feel school is something done to them, and it takes them a while to get it around their head to do a passion project, or but they have to pitch something, and that's something I think is a really important skill now and in the future for everybody. So if you could carve out some time, like even it'd be nice if you could do an hour a week or somehow fill it in, and then get these kids to come up with their own projects that deal with robotics or coding and see where they take it. And even with my own students that I tell them it's not about the end product. Maybe they never finish off that. Like I know some students this guy that I was talking about was really into 3D printing, and he wants to do this whole exoskeleton. If he doesn't get it done in time, so to speak, by the end of the semester, I'm more concerned about the journey. I tell them to take pictures and document it and share the trials and tribulations about it. Like, and I've got some guys that are trying to kind of code an app and that type of thing. And I don't expect them at the end to have their app working 100%. What I am expecting is that, okay, well, what did you look at? What was your prototype? What did you research? Who did you talk to? What did you come up with, at the end? With this go-kart, like I was mentioning, I got kids so excited about it that they're going to choose as their genius hour project, but it goes past this semester. But the kids say, yeah, don't worry, we'll keep on. So when our semester ends, they'll report on what they've learned, right? But it won't be done per se, and that's okay. And I think, if teachers maybe take that, that kind of approach and put in a genius hour and tie it in and have students again pitch it, build it, make mistakes, revisit it, document it, those type of things. I think that's a really positive way in getting kids excited, and you never know what's going to spin off, from that too. Maybe, they're going one direction and they zag another direction, which is, learning's messy. So I think we need to embrace that. And I think, opportunities in coding and robotics definitely have that element of messiness in it, which I think is super healthy. But as a teacher, you got to be a bit of a risk taker, and you got to, see where these kids are going and have that conversation with them. So, it's exciting.
Yeah, and you've said some amazing things there where, the journey is the most valuable part, because the end product may not, maybe come to fulfillment at the end of this time, but the journey there are the skills that they've built, the opportunities to grow as individuals and as learners is huge. That's huge. And learning is messy. And maybe the traditional way that we've been learning and teaching doesn't really suit all students. And maybe this messy learning environment help them grow into global citizens as they move forward into the STEAM industry, as you mentioned earlier on. And Dean, so we are at a part in the show where I like to ask our specialists, you just did this on the last show, but it's our top three. I'd like to know for our listeners and our viewers, what are your top three tips for our listeners and our viewers who are trying to get started in robotics or in coding? What would be your top three tips to them?
Well, we kind of mentioned throughout the podcast, I definitely think you as a teacher have to be a risk taker and be comfortable with not having all the answers and knowing it. I know sometimes as teachers, we want to be in control of the content, the vessels of, and kind of the sage on the sage type of thing. I'm sure maybe you've heard that analogy gets used a lot, but yeah, you definitely become a guide on the side and a facilitator and a lifelong learner with the kids. So definitely one tip would be take a risk and it's okay if you don't know everything. You're not, at least I don't anyways, you're not going to know everything. Other thing I would say is definitely develop a professional learning network. Listen to different podcasts like this awesome podcast, reach out on social media such as Twitter. There's a lot of good people doing a lot of good things that are willing to share. So, if you're a little hesitant because you're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. There are a lot of people out there that are more than willing to help and have some really good ideas that, they're willing to share. And then the last tip I would definitely say is just trust your kids and let the kids teach you and let the kids, have that opportunity to be something different, right? And to be something more and to, sometimes, we cater to maybe the 20%. So whatever in schools, but I think these opportunities open the doors more. And one thing I know that I'm trying to work on too is that we need more girls in coding and STEM. Unfortunately, this one class I only have one girl. She's a rock star. She's probably my best student, and I think we need more of that. We need to promote more girls taking coding and STEM and all those type of things too. So make it accessible for all and just let the students kind of take it where they be. I think, if we always do what we've always done, we're always going to get the same thing, so to speak. So I think by offering this, I think the sky is the limit. And I think we're doing the kids a really good service for everybody's future and providing those skills and those opportunities to solve wicked problems that don't even exist yet. It's classes like this that would, opportunities like this that could make that happen. Why not one of our kids, right? But if they don't have that opportunity, they might not see that. So, give the kids a shot.
Absolutely amazing words of advice. Let's give them an opportunity. Let's provide them with a different venue, if you will, to learn, explore, and who knows, right? Who knows who might be sitting in that class, experiencing that learning opportunity, and who knows what they come up with, down the road. So absolutely amazing words of advice. And Dean, thank you so much for joining me on the show again to talk about robotics and coding and how you got started, and sharing some tips for resources and supports that other teachers may need to get started in their own classrooms. And as always, don't forget to follow Dean on Twitter, social media at Vendy55 to see the amazing things that he's doing and get some, little tidbits of inspiration from his social media as well. Because as we've mentioned, a social network, a professional learning network is huge when embarking in a new journey. And as always, don't forget to follow Logix Academy at Logix Academy to see all the inspiring things that are happening from across the globe, using different tools and techniques in education. As always, my name is Bryan Ouellette. This was the Logix Academy podcast. And don't forget, together, let's inspire innovation across the nation.